I see we are 18 people connected now. We will start now, and maybe some more participants will catch up. So welcome to this webinar. My name is Alexandre Morin. I'm from HY4RES, which is an umbrella organization for the Chamber of Agriculture in the western part of France, in the Atlantic part. We are partner in the HY4RES project, which is a project dedicated to the development of hybrid renewable energy systems, and the project funded by the InterregAtlant Area program. This project gathers academia, industry partners in Ireland, France, Spain, and Portugal, and apply transdisciplinary research to implement hybrid renewable energy solutions in various settings. This webinar is the third installment in a series of webinars from HY4RES dedicated to disseminating the results and findings from our projects. Today, we have the pleasure to welcome InterregAtlant Area program representative and also two sister projects for the same program, respectively the Eneport and SATCOMM projects, to discuss about the unlocking of potential of renewable energies in Europe. We all will also try to find out how research projects are adapted to different locations, to different grounds, different situations, and also to the needs of various end users in ports, energy communication, communities, agriculture, and industry. This webinar cycle, as I mentioned, is a part of a HY4RES webinar cycle. It's also part of the European Sustainable Energy Days. This event is recorded, and a replay will be made available on the YouTube channel of the program. Before we start, quick house rules. I remind you to please keep your microphones and camera turned off, and you can ask at any point questions to the different presentations directly written down in the chat. For those who missed the previous webinars, we will now show a very quick video summarizing the findings of the HY4RES project, and then we will pursue with the different presenters. So here we go for the presentation.
Hello, bonjour, hola, bom dia. We're working on a European project called HY4RES. We want more of the electricity we use to come from renewable sources. So, we've developed hybrid systems that combine renewable energies to compensate variability and provide innovative storage solutions. This makes the production of renewable electricity more stable, sustainable, and less costly. We are testing our systems at 4 pilot sites, working with local partners in different environments to implement small-scale solutions that can be replicated elsewhere. In Spain, we are working with farmers in Andalusia to help reduce dependence on fossil fuels for irrigation. At the port of Avilés, we use tidal power to harness the energy of the sea, and we're testing a mobile hub that can store and regulate the use of energy. In Ireland, our aquaculture site in County Donegal uses surplus electricity generated by wind turbines to dry wood from local forests. In Portugal, we are rehabilitating disused installations in rural areas to produce renewable energy, and our hybrid system will power a small energy community. We are researchers, engineers, business leaders, farmers, and local authorities, and have worked together at European level since 2023. HY4RES project is co-funded by the InterregAtlant Area program of the European Union.
Okay, so in previous webinars, we have been exploring the technological developments of hybrid systems and their optimization through intelligent management software and sustainability analysis. Today, we will take a step back and look at the policy landscape that supports this type of projects and how the research is turned into practice. For that, I welcome our speakers, and first of the speaker is Carlos Garea Lodeiro. Carlos is a project manager in the InterregAtlant Area program involving 4 member states, France, Ireland, Portugal, and Spain. He works at the launch and management of call for proposals and has over 20 years of experience in managing EU projects such as Interreg, Horizon, and Horizon Europe. He works in both technology centers and public administration. Carlos, the floor is yours.
Hello, good morning. Thank you very much, Alexandre. So, yes, my name is, as Alexandre said, my name is Carlos Garea. I work as a project manager in the InterregAtlant Area Joint Secretariat, and I'm happy to be here with you. And first of all, I want to thank you all the HY4RES partnership, and especially the organizers, l'Association des Chambres d'Agriculture de l'Atlantique, especially Amandine, Nina, and Alexandre. Thank you very much for inviting to this webinar. I think you can, yes. So basically, most of you will know the InterregAtlant Area is one of the Interreg programs in the European Union. There are more than 70 programs in the European Union. And we work, as it was mentioned in the video, we work with 4 member states: Portugal, Spain, France, and Ireland. The program budget for this program period 21-27 is 113 million euros of ERDF. The confidential rate is up to 75%, and you can see in the slide the map of the Atlantic area. Portugal and Ireland is all the territory, and France and Spain is basically the Atlantic coast. We have, in this program period, we include all the Andalusia region and La Rioja, and also Limousin in France. This is important because Andalusia is, I don't remember by heart, but it's around 8 to 9 million of persons that lives in Andalusia, so it's a big change in our program. So we have 4 priorities, and one is blue innovation and competitiveness. The other one is blue and green environment. When we mention blue, is related to the ocean, like in blue innovation is also related to blue growth. Blue sustainable social tourism and culture. And the 4th one is a better governance for cooperation that we launch in the second project, second call for proposal. We launch a specific call for this priority, and we approved just one project, GRAL, that I'm sure that have worked with the 3 projects with SATCOMM, HY4RES, and airports. And the idea is to capitalize the results of this program period 21-27, but also from the last program period 14-20. As it was mentioned in the video, replicate the results of different projects and increase the number of beneficiaries of the project's results. Here we have the 4 priorities and the different specific objectives. And basically, the 3 projects are included in the specific objective. I'm sorry, because I can hear, but this like number 1, I think is in priority 2, specific objective 1. And we are happy also that you organize together the 3 projects, these events, because it's very important to capitalize the results. You only need to take into account that we don't allow the share cost. So you can not organize an event, a share cost between the projects. But it happens also in the partnership. But we are very happy to see that you are capitalizing the results and introducing the projects and the project results to different Atlantic area or another European projects. We have the opportunity during this webinar to know more about SATCOMM and HY4RES and airports. They are very interesting projects. And as you know, the energy projects are very expensive. So we are normally, as in the case of these 3 projects, we are talking about around 2-3 million euros of ERDF in the Atlantic area project. So it means that you cannot develop a huge or energy project, but at least you can develop small pilots improve energy management. And here you have, this slide is taken of our approved cooperation program. And here you have a list of type of actions that could be funded in our program. Also, another strong point of the InterregAtlant project is that you can involve all the stakeholders. I mean, almost any organization except a big company can be beneficiary in our program. So it means that you can work with small and medium enterprises, academia, university, technology centers, but also with city councils and with society, with NGOs. So sometimes it's very important, that when you are going to implement a new technology, a new renewable energy, and sometimes it could be you can have not problems, but yeah, you can have problems with the society, or they can be afraid about the impact of this technology. The Interreg project, in our case, in the InterregAtlant area, can be fund this type of activities in order to be close to the society and avoid problems or related to implementation of new technologies. And here is this last slide. I would like to talk, as the 3 projects that we are going to talk in this webinar are ongoing. I would like to talk about a project that we have funded during the last program period, that is Blue Gift. Blue Gift was a project in this period. The United Kingdom was the 5 member in our program. And the lead partner was EMEC, that is institution that maybe you know, based in Orkney Island in Scotland. And the goal of the project was to test the new generation of marine renewable energy technology in real sea environments. The partnership include 5 or 6 of the most important test sites in the European Union. So the test, they're working with 4 test sites that is included Bordeaux, the river in Bordeaux, Basque Country, and Canary Island in Spain. And in Portugal, it was in Agusadoura, close to Porto and Póvoa de Varzim. So basically, the project launched 3 calls for applications for access to any entity interested to test in the 4 test sites. With this project, we achieve a production, not a big production, but it's interesting, of renewable energy of almost 2 megawatts. But it's interesting because there was pilot of new testing new renewable energy, especially tide and wave energy. And finally, the indicator was a greenhouse reduction over 1,000 tons of CO2. You can find more information in the website of this project, that is bluegift.eu, that is still working. And also, I would like to mention in the last slide that we are working in the last and the 4th call for proposals in the InterregAtlant area that is not officially approved. We have that. We estimate that we'll have around a budget of 7 million euros. And we cannot give you more information because only the monitoring committee of the program can approve this call for proposal. But we recommend you to follow our social networks. And in the next days, in the next weeks, I hope in July, we will publish the call for proposal and the terms of reference, and you will have more information. So I recommend you to follow our social networks and website, and as soon as the call for proposals is approved by the monitoring committee, we will going to give you the information. So that's all. Thank you very much. And also, I recommend you to check if you want to know more about our projects in our website, atlanticarea.eu. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Carlos. Our next speaker now is Samuel Ormaechea, which holds a Bachelor in Mechanical Engineering in Polytechnic University of Madrid, Spain, and a Master's in Environmental Engineering. He specialized on sustainable energy systems. He has worked as a project developer on green hydrogen systems, and as research, development, and innovation engineer since 2024 at ATG, a National Technical Center. He's the project manager of Heneports, and he will present this project. So, Samuel, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you very much. I'm very grateful for having this opportunity to present NEports and also the company I'm representing, which is ITG, a National Technological Center in Spain. Today I'm going to talk and disseminate about NEports results and what we do in NEports and what's our aim with NEports towards the future as well, in terms of future goals or future opportunities, not only for InterregAtlantic area programs, but other European Union and European Commission funded programs. Today I'm going to talk specifically about what we do in the first work package of NEports, which compiles all the framework in which renewable energy projects develop within port areas and port ecosystems. But first, I wanted to talk a little bit about what we do in ITG. And I want to link what we do here in ITG with what we are doing in NEports, because it's quite related, of course. In ITG, as a National Technological Center, we have different divisions. I belong to the Smart Energy Division, and what we do in the Smart Energy Division is to work over the whole value chain of energy. So we are working since the generation of electricity or energy, because we work with all different kind of energy carriers and energy vectors, and also towards the final consumption, the end user of the energy that we produce. And of course, we go all the way through the distribution with DSOs. We work also with the management, with different business models of the energy, and how relevant is the storage systems in the different business models that we simulate. All this we do it under the umbrella of cybersecurity, which with ports specifically in NEports we have seen that is a very important topic, as they have to fulfill all the different cybersecurity standards as they belong to the critical infrastructures sector. We do it with IoT and all the controllers, sensors, and information that we can gather from the ports. We do it also with artificial intelligence, just to get to know how an equipment, how a sensor, how a different facility can behave. Also with robotics and quantum calculations, and also electronics and sensors, because we need to gather all the information possible, and specifically for different facilities and technologies. We work for the whole value chain in energy hubs, port ecosystems, industrial areas, all kind of systems that can generate a whole energy system with production, consumption, and management of energy. For example, for generation, regarding renewable electricity and generation facilities in NEports, what we want to go through and what we are aiming is that ports evolve and transition into a green energy hub. So they have all the possibilities and all the chances to find place and space to install all the different energy generation facilities. And it's a hot topic also, the renewable hydrogen, as is being considered as one of the energy carriers that could power the onshore power supply systems when boats and ships are at port. Regarding the distribution, as ports are at the end, let's say at the edge of a country, the distribution system ends there. It doesn't go further normally. So we are aiming to look for evolving that network, that grid, energy grid that they have, and we are also aiming for them to have a different energy business model for their energy management. Also, of course, if they need some storage system, we have studied it, and we are checking that it increases the economic KPIs of the project, of the pilot sites. And also the end users. The end users are all kind of concessionaires and all kind of users that belong to the port and are part of the port ecosystem. We are also working with the life cycle analysis and also the circular economy of the whole port. For NE ports, we work specifically with 3 ports of the Interreg-Atlantic area region, which are Port of Ferrol in Coruña, in Galicia region in Spain, right above Portugal, Port of HY4RES, which is almost 3 hours away from Ferrol Port in Porto, and also Port of Tenerife in the Canary Islands from Spain. We have also a small pilot site that doesn't belong to any ports, but gives some values and some insights for the NEPorts project in France, in Port of Le Havre. So for NEPorts, the main challenge is to decarbonize Atlantic ports, basically integrating all these energy systems, all renewable energy systems, by improving and modernizing the whole energy grid and the whole IoT network of the port, which will create value, and we will digest, we are digesting, managing and using artificial intelligence to get to know how a port behaves in terms of energy consumption. And we are trying to use our smart platform to gather all that information to make it readable and understandable for ports, and yeah, it includes all artificial intelligence algorithms, so they are able to not only get to know what has been done in the past, but also in the future, what could be done or what could be the expected behavior of the port under different situations. For the first work package, we worked in administrative regime and technological impacts under the areas of responsibility for the port authorities. And this is basically to get to know the political context, to get to know how the permitting works, or which are all the permits that need to be considered in terms of installing not only huge renewable energy projects, but basically testing areas for new technologies from different renewable energy systems. We have performed alongside the Port of Ferrol this analysis, and a team created by legal counselors, legal counselors from Ireland. Also, Port of Galway is part of the NEPorts project, but it's as an associate member. So there is an Ireland counselor, Portugal, Spain, and France counselors, so experts in legal terms. I'm gonna go just very quickly through the slides, because I'm just gonna present the Spanish case, but I'm happy to share all the relevant results. And in fact, the results of this report are already uploaded in the NEPorts website, which is neports.com. And I'm just gonna focus on the Spanish case. So we have seen that ports are great. It's a great opportunity for them to install and to become energy hubs, which is something that they haven't done ever before. because they have only worked as logistics apps, and they find themselves into this whole permitting process that they don't really control and they don't really understand. So it's basically how a general company that wants to do for creating and installing an energy facility, but now it's the ports who have to do it, and they have found themselves into an in-between context because they in Spain they belong they are part of the government, let's say, but so the ground which they have available for installing all these renewable energy systems is like public domain, and it follows different rules, but there are no specific rules for port areas. And with all the kilometers of coastline that we have in Spain, we believe that it's quite important that somehow the government creates a specific regulation and legislation for introducing renewable energy within port areas. We have also seen that the strategic outlook is that there are different regions in Spain that have an integrated and streamlined permitting procedures, which speed up the process and facilitates things, but this process doesn't affect to ports as they don't normally have this accelerating process, and it would reduce administrative burdens and delays. So the coordination is there because ports want to transition, but they don't find the way to do it within the current legislation, and projects that should take 3 or 4 years are taking more than 5, 6, 7 years, which in terms of energy transition is just too bad. And with the great potential that Spain has for the electricity, for the renewable energy and the energy transition, also with ports, this is a shame. Also, I wanted to highlight a few other things that we do in Eneports, which are to check the potential for decarbonization that each port has and how to implement it within their infrastructures. So in terms of this technology, energy production technology, or this other one, so PV systems, offshore and offshore energy systems such as tidal or wind offshore or wave power. So how much carbon dioxide they are able to reduce, carbon dioxide emissions are able to reduce in that specific port, and how it matches the demand profile of each port. We also do everything with a methodological approach. So we try to create a methodology for facilitating and speed up all the process for all ports in all countries that belong to the project. And we are also trying to create new markets. So the ports are not the ones that only put the ground there for other ones to exploit it, but they are the actual owners of the energy that they produce and the actual partners that are involved in the energy market creation process. I already mentioned the smart energy platform that we are following, that we are implementing. We are doing it with the ITER. It's a technological center also from Spain, from the Canary Islands, from Tenerife. And it's quite important because it helps with all the data management process in energy port areas, also taking into account the cybersecurity. And that's all on my side. Thank you very much for the opportunity. if there are any questions regarding what we do in any ports and what can be done with ports. We are glad to help, glad to have any kind of video call with anybody and to discuss it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Samuel. Our next and third speaker will be Sean Lyons. Sean holds a Master of Business Administration from the University of Limerick and also a Mechanical Engineering degree from the Trinity College Dublin. He's the technical lead for smart energy at the Wharton Institute, and he focuses on renewable energy integration, smart grids, and energy optimization. His work supports the transition from a centralized grid to an intelligent, flexible network, balancing supply and demand. Through projects such as PICES, Reg Energy, and Sustainability Dingle, he empowers end users and energy communities to become active market participants. Sean, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alexandre. You can hear me okay?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Thanks, guys, and thanks for inviting us. Yeah, I'm here today to present the SATCOMM project, which is an InterregAtlant area project. As Carlos mentioned, it covers Ireland, France, Portugal, and Spain, or at least the Atlantic coasts of those countries. And SATCOMM is very much about developing technologies to enable energy communities. So we're bringing in aspects such as energy sharing, collective self-consumption, to allow communities and industrial parks and groups of energy citizens to come together and allow them with technology to take part in the clean energy transition. So yeah, as Alexandre said, I work in the Wharton Institute, which is the ICT research arm of SETU, which is the Southeast Technological University here in Ireland. And obviously we do, our research and development is very much in the energy and smart grid space, integrating renewable energy and really building the software platforms to enable that. So SATCOMM is very much in that space. I'm just trying to move on the slides here, guys. Oh, sorry. Okay, got it now. Yeah, we have 10 partners across those 4 countries. Won't go through them all there now, but you know, they're all in mostly in coastal areas. Some are pilot sites, some are technology developers, but we all kind of come together to build this solution. So I suppose the platform and the project, what it's about, obviously EU directives have come in over the last number of years to enable the energy citizen to engage in the clean energy transition, and mechanisms like energy sharing and collective self-consumption are now becoming available. But it's the remit of each jurisdiction to transpose those directives into national law in a way that they see fit to suit their energy systems. So what we're finding is that all governments are bringing in different mechanisms and different rules. So a lot of what SATCOMM is doing is doing that analysis and making sure then that the technology is fit for purpose and can bring best practice to each of those jurisdictions, but also be able to bring in those specific rules. And I'll go into a little bit of detail later on each pilot and how those rules are different. So the key thing, I guess, about energy sharing and energy communities and collective self-consumption is that you're really trying to integrate renewable energy, solar, wind, and battery systems at a local level, what we call a distributed generation level. And the advantages of that allow you to integrate a lot more renewables and try and match it to the load profile of the energy community that you're serving. So from a software point of view, to allow you to do that, you need to be able to predict how much energy you're likely to generate in the next period from wind and solar, how much load, how much demand you're going to have from all of your aggregated members of your energy community, and then you design renewable energy systems to match, to try and balance that as much as possible, such that the electricity being generated is being consumed as locally as possible. To do that, you need to have prediction algorithms to predict how much load you're going to have, to predict how much generation you're going to have, and try and match them with battery systems and other smart grid techniques. Once you predict that load, then you need to optimize it. You need to decide whether it's, and all of our algorithms are based on maximizing sustainability. You could maximize cost. You could say we want to get the best economic output, but really the output for an energy community is to maximize sustainability. So you're trying to consume as much energy as possible. So you're charging up batteries when you have excess solar. You're predicting what members are going to need that at times when maybe you don't have solar. So that's what the optimization algorithms will do. There's obviously different market mechanisms and charges in each jurisdiction. I guess the key advantage of an energy community and energy sharing locally is that you're using much less of the grid and network, and you're bringing a lot of advantages to the grid and network, like balancing, and you're sweating the local assets a lot more. So you would hope that in most jurisdictions that benefit will be reflected in less network charges in the local grid to incentivize it. But most countries are bringing those rules and mechanisms in, as I said, quite differently. So obviously our platform has to be able to manage that. We also have a concept called sharing coefficients, which we're modeling in the platform. So again, if you have 50 people in an energy community and you have various energy generation, and that you've got to decide when you have excess generation, what members get that. And obviously from an energy community point of view, you want it to be as fair as possible. So if you've got one large energy user in that group, you don't want to be giving him all of the advantages. So there's various sharing coefficients that you can have and dictate, and we're doing a lot of work on proving which is the best ones for each pilot. Within the energy platform, then we also have what's called a simulation model, where we can look at future concepts. And if for instance, if some of your electricity or some of your energy demand that's now in fossil fuels, like diesel cars or fossil fueled heating systems, if they become electrified, and if you're electrifying heat and transport, what that's going to do to change your load profiles, and then conversely how much you've got to change your energy community and your energy community generation, increase your solar or whatever, increase your battery system. So a lot of that simulation can be done in a separate module. As I mentioned, our algorithms are based on sustainability, but you could also change them to be economic. But obviously, from an energy community point of view, you want to maximize sustainability. To do all that, obviously we've had to do a very in-depth regulatory analysis across the four countries, and as I said, that's quite different. And maybe when I get into the pilots, you'll see some of that. And proximity is a key concept in energy communities and energy sharing and collective self-consumption, because if you're sharing with someone right next door to you, then the physical electrons are being shared, and then the advantage of that is obvious. Whereas if the proximity is quite wide, that advantage is much less, and then there's less opportunity to incentivize that. Okay, just to go on to some of the pilots, then we've 5 pilots, one in France, one in Ireland, 1 in Portugal, and 2 in Spain. So I'll just briefly, we don't have a lot of time today, but briefly I'll go through the particular aspects of that. So in the French pilot, it's based in Brittany, and it's based across a number of local authority sites. Some are prosumers meaning that they generate and they consume energy, and some are just pure consumers of energy. And obviously the idea being that once the prosumers have excess energy, they can share it with their other local authority buildings in the energy community. The rules in France are, from a proximity point of view, are varied. If you're in a very urban area, they're quite small, as low as 2 kilometers radius. But in urban areas, rural areas, And this area in Brittany is very rural. It can go as high as 20 kilometers. So obviously it's quite high. So in this case, it is actually 20 kilometers in the region of the pilot, and we've got a number of local authority sites, as you can see there, which are sharing energy amongst each other. Again, sharing energy is not a simple concept, and there is rules and responsibilities surrounding that, because you're now engaged in the energy market and trading energy. So you've got on the right, there's just some of the flows of energy, flows of money highlighted, where you've got to have balanced, responsible partners, because again, you can't just spill energy onto the grid when you want. You've got to do it in a way that suits the grid, and obviously you have to have legal entities to allow you to do that. So not alone is this a technical project, but also looking at the regulation, but also the legal aspects when you actually go and now set up a physical energy community, whether that's a renewable energy community or a citizen energy community, and the legal responsibilities that you have around that. So that's the French pilot. I mentioned there's two pilots in Spain. The first one is in Galicia, in Coruña, and it's it's based in an industrial area where we've got a number again of consumers and prosumers. Most are industrial, but we've got one residence in there also. And again, we are aggregating the low profiles of all of those and then sharing the excess energy amongst the energy community group. The proximity there is within 2 kilometers. It's much more built up area, but again, the rules in Spain are different to what they are in France. But that again is reflected in the platform. The second Spanish pilot is based in Tenerife. And it's based around one of the partners' university campus in the University of La Laguna, and they have quite a lot of solar and battery systems installed in a number of buildings, and they are then sharing energy with another building within the campus. When the project started, the proximity rules for this particular area were within 2 kilometers. And we were going to have a number of collective self-consumption groups, and then they were going to have an energy community umbrella above them. But more recently, they've relaxed the rules out to 5 kilometers, so now they can all come in within one collective self-consumption group. So again, we are maximizing the sharing coefficients there and battery systems. We've also installed what's called a sky imager in that site, which gives us much more real-time solar irradiance data, which gives us the ability to change. Obviously, for cloud, in normal solar prediction, you might only predict every 15 minutes or 30 minutes. But with sky imagers, you can actually, when a cloud passes over, you can change your predictions in real time. So that's another major innovative development for the project. In the Portugal pilot is in an area called Esquadria, again, very much an industrial area where they've got significant amount of solar and battery systems in their premises, and then they're sharing with a residential community all around them. So again, that's a collective self-consumption project. In the Irish pilot, I mentioned that all governments and all jurisdictions are transposing the laws at different rates. Unfortunately, in Ireland, it has been much slower than other areas, and energy sharing and collective self-consumption are still not legal in Ireland. But we're working very closely with the Irish government and the Irish regulator and the DSOs and all of the energy stakeholders to look at the mechanisms that are working best in Europe and bringing that best practice back to Ireland. And there's a number of consultations ongoing, and we're basically modelling the Irish pilot based on what we feel is most likely to happen in Ireland, and also what would bring best practice. And we're modelling that in a site in Dingle in County Kerry, where there's an office block with 9 offices within that block, and we have a number of battery systems in and 2 different solar installs around the building, and at the moment, those offices are not, even though they're right beside each other, are not allowed to share. But we're modeling the platform to show best practice and how that office block could become as sustainable as possible. So why go with energy communities? Why go with energy sharing? And that's one of the biggest questions we're solving in the SATCOMM project. So obviously, you know, it put communities at the center of the energy transition, which then brings communities along with you and improves project acceptance. It's very difficult to integrate renewable energy and battery systems as an individual. So obviously, with energy communities, you can integrate them in a much more balanced way and increase the scale. It gives a business model because it's bringing a lot of people in. It then allows those communities, again, very difficult to operate in maybe a flexibility or an aggregation market as an individual, whereas with an aggregated group, again, it's much more easier and you've got much more scale. From a network point of view, you know, obviously it reduces system losses, and also any future grid, if you're sweating the assets more locally, it significantly reduces future grid reinforcement. Proximity clause, as I mentioned, is very important to have physical trading rather than virtual, and obviously you can track your green credentials. And basically, very quickly, I see Alexandre is on, so my time must be up. This is just a couple of snapshots of what the platform looked like. So obviously, you've got predicted and actual loads. You can for a particular site, you can look at what the load is, what the renewable energy is, but also what the algorithms are predicting, such that goes into the prediction algorithms. That's all documented, then bringing in market pricing, because obviously you want to be able to show what the cost was prior to the energy community being there, and also what it is currently. Then you can go back into a reporting section and look back at the month of May or the month of whatever period you like to see how accurate you were, how much the sustainability levels improved, and obviously then you can get other graphs showing the mix of renewable energy with battery systems and against your load. So that's pretty much everything on SATCOMM, and welcome any questions.
Thank you very much, Sean. And as you mentioned, we welcome any questions. So if you have any questions, comment, or want to ask something for Sean or for the previous presenters as well, please go to the chat and type your questions. I will now pass on to the different presenters from the HY4RES project. I will introduce our 4 next presenters in a row and then pass on the floor to them. So the first presenter will be Jorge García Morillo, who holds a degree in agricultural engineering from the University of Cordoba in Spain, and also a Master of Science from the Cranfield University in the UK, and also a PhD in bioscience and the agri-food chain from Cordoba University. He is an associate professor in the hydraulics area in the Department of Agronomy at the University of Cordoba, and his research focuses on improving water and energy efficiency in irrigation and urban water distribution networks. We will also hear from John Gallagher, who's an associate professor in environmental systems modeling in the School of Engineering at Trinity College Dublin, and he's a coordinator of the HY4RES project. He's been working in the area of life cycle and circularity for more than 15 years, with a strong interest and expertise in applying these principles to the design of engineering systems. We will also hear from Rodolfo Espina Valdés, who is a civil engineer and PhD from the University of Oviedo, specializing in hydraulic engineering, renewable systems, and computational fluid dynamics. He has 15 years experience in professional experience in the water sector, and has combined technical practice with academic work as an assistant professor in hydraulic engineering at the University of Oviedo. And he currently leads the local implementation of the HY4RES projects focused on hybrid renewable energy solution for net zero energy consumption. And lastly, we will also hear from Helena Ramos, who is a full professor at the Instituto Superior Técnico of the University of Lisbon, as a long-standing member of the PhD Commission of Civil Engineering Department. She has She is the head of scientific hydraulics group of HY4RES and the coordinator of the Portuguese Interreg HY4RES project. I will now pass the floor to Jorge first.
Okay, thanks, Alexander, for your kind presentation. Now I'm going to present the irrigation pilot plant, the agricultural pilot site in Andalusia in Spain. The plant has been implemented in the Valle Inferior irrigation community located between the provinces of Córdoba and Seville in Andalusia, Spain. The irrigation community covers around 19,000 hectares, comprising more than 3,000 irrigation plots, 2,900 irrigation hydrants, and over 500 kilometers of pipework. Also, it has 11 irrigation sectors and a very high installed pumping capacity, resulting in an energy demand of 10 to 12 megawatts per hour per year. This irrigation community has a 6 megawatts solar plant for self-consumption with an annual production capacity of 11 megawatts per hour. Within the sector 7 here is located Las Catalinas farm, where we have installed a hybrid renewable energy system. It is a farm of around 200 hectares comprising several plots. The main crops are vegetables such as potatoes or carrots. Here we can see some picture of the farm's facilities. It has an irrigation reservoir with a capacity of around 3,000 cubic meters. The reservoir is filled through a filling pipeline operating at a pressure of over 4 bar. It has a pumping station to irrigate the farm's plots, and the pumping station consists of 4 pumps with a capacity of 30 kilowatts each one. It also has a shed housing for the electrical installation. So based on these facilities, we have designed an independent renewable energy system. It consists of a 24 kilowatt solar power plant and a pump operating in reverse mode as a turbine with a capacity of around 6 kilowatts. The total installed power amounts to around 30 kilowatts, which is equivalent to the power of 1 pump. It is a self-consumption system and does not allow surplus energy to be injected into the conventional electrical grid. The system is independent of the farmer's setup, does not interfere with its normal operation, and it can be disconnected at any time. Also has a separate electrical installation and injects the energy generated into the low voltage grid that powers the pumping system. The plant has been in operation since October 2025. The main hydraulic and electrical variables are being recorded, and at the end of the irrigation season in October, we will analyze its performance. Now we can show you a video of the plant once it has been completed. You can see the solar plant and also the bypass where the turbine were installed. So you can see the Guadalquivir River, some orange crops, and this is the facilities of the farm and what we did. So that's all. Thanks.
Thank you. I now pass the floor also to John Gallagher, please.
Thank you, Alexandre. Oh, slides may need to be shared again.
Do you have the control of the slide, John?
I'm going to have control now.
Okay, should be working now.
Okay.
There it goes.
So thank you very much, Alexandre. Good morning, everyone. My name is John Gallagher, and I'm going to give you an overview of the aquaculture pilot site that is based in Ireland, in a small fishing town in the northwest of Ireland, in Killybegs in County Donegal. Just to give a little bit of context, that within this project, we were interested in focusing on an aquaculture sector. And specifically, we identified a fishing company that had a fish factory in this region of the country. And we worked with them to explore opportunities in hybrid renewable energy. Just maybe a little bit of context about the fish factory and the company themselves. This is a family-run business that supports local jobs and have always been interested in sustainability and always exploring new opportunities, even in their food products. And they've always looked at value-added opportunities. And the history of the site has been that they've wanted to maximize the opportunities that they have around renewable energy. Over the last 20 years, approximately, they've installed a 200 kilowatt hydro installation, approximately, and that in more recent years, they invested in an 800 kilowatt wind turbine. And so they were very familiar with renewable energy, but due to a number of challenges, both grid connections and availability, and I suppose the challenges around the cost effectiveness of energy storage, the opportunity to work with HY4RES and look at how hybrid renewable energy could be maximized was where we came in. And the direction in which discussions took us, and something they had been interested in, was the opportunity to develop a biomass facility to produce kiln-dried wood on their site as another value-added product, and using the excess renewable energy and essentially drying the wood using that. So to give context, their wind turbine was restricted on the amount of energy that they could consume on their site because of the maximum demand of the fish factory, and also due to grid limitations, they could not export all of the energy. And so this was an opportunity, this site, to take the value from this excess energy from the wind turbine and transform it into added value through dried wood that is dried using green energy. As you can see, just for example, of 2 or 3 years, the non-working hours, the red, represented some of the energy that was not being consumed by the fish factory. And so this was an opportunity to leverage excess renewable energy. And I think this was a great opportunity for HY4RES to come on board 2 years ago. So what has happened since the project has begun? The facility has been fully constructed. This is the picture of the kiln in the background. It's just adjacent to the wind turbine, which we saw in the last slide, and also the creation of a new business entity called Killybegs Energy Limited, which is quite an exciting opportunity to support this initiative. It also has secured employees that had moved from the facility, the previous role, but also this has created some new jobs. In the expansion of their new biomass product has led to increased demand, and I suppose that's a great added value piece for the local community. And now they're producing this kiln-dried wood as a value-added product. And in many ways, an interesting way of looking at this is that we're locking in the renewable energy, we're storing it in this wood, and then we can release that energy more efficiently at a more opportune time. So an alternative way of thinking about battery storage to some degree. There has been challenges, and we're still working with the partner to maximize the opportunity, because optimization, delivering the hybrid system is one thing, but optimization is the final steps. And it's as an engineer, the mechanical side of things is very much something that you can record data on and introduce technology, IoT, etc., like our previous speakers have talked about. But there's the human aspect, and there's a lot of learning ongoing around how to optimize both preparing the wood products through to putting them in the kiln and how the kiln dries the wood, because it's not a non-uniform system. So now our final steps of the project to maximize the renewable energy consumption is to introduce forms of prediction, and thus then we can maximize both supply of the renewable energy and the demand of the production of kiln dried wood. So thank you very much for that. I hope to you enjoyed a little bit of insight into this, and look forward to the discussion and questions as we go forward. Over to you, Alexandre.
Thank you very much. I will now pass the floor to Rodolfo. So Rodolfo, can you take over the slides?
Yeah, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for the invitation. In this short presentation, I will introduce the HY4RES pilot developed in the port area of Avilés, which focuses on a portable hybrid renewable energy system. The main objective of this pilot is to design, implement, and validate an energy generation system based on the hybridization of different renewable energy sources, with a key feature that is the portability. The idea is to develop a solution that can be easily deployed in environments such as ports, industrial areas, or even remote locations where energy availability may be limited, variable, or even dependent on conventional sources. In the Avilés pilot, we developed a hybrid energy hub that combines several technologies. We have solar photovoltaic energy, we have wind energy, hydrokinetic energy, and a pampas turbine system. All these technologies are integrated into a unified system, and in addition, the project is not only focused on energy generation, but also on monitoring and smart energy management using IoT technologies and communication protocols such as MQTT. One of the most important aspects of the pilot is its multi-resource approach. The port environment of Avilés is particularly suitable because it provides access to solar radiation, coastal wind conditions, water flows, river and tidal, and hydraulic infrastructure. By combining these resources, we can improve system robustness, reduce intermittency, and increase overall energy availability. Regarding the photovoltaic system, it includes solar panels, 3, with a total power of around 0.81 kilowatts. The estimated production is about 1.94 kilowatts hour per day, or approximately 567 kilowatts hour per year, 567. The system can operate in 2 modes: standalone, using normal battery storage, or hybrid, connected to the electrical grid. All energy parameters are monitored in real time through the IoT system. For the wind energy component, we install 3 vertical axis wind turbine. This type of turbine is particularly suitable for port or urban environments because it has better performance under turbulent wind conditions, it has lower visual and acoustic impact, and in terms of performance, we have a total power around 67.5 watts, and the annual energy production is approximately 473 kilowatts per hour. This subsystem also operates in standalone or hybrid mode with full monitoring capabilities. In the case of hydrokinetic energy, we deployed 2 turbines on a floating platform. This solution allows us to harness water flow without requiring infrastructure. The energy output is obviously more modest, but the total power is about 20 watts, and the annual production is roughly 135 kilowatts hour. However, its value lies in resource diversification and its ability to operate continuously under suitable conditions. Another innovative component is the pampas turbine system. A conventional pump is used in the reverse as a turbine, is integrated with a water tank, and the system serves both as a generation unit and a form of renewable energy storage. It provides around 200 watts of power and about 140 kilowatts hour per year of energy production. All these subsystems are integrated into a hybrid architecture that includes multiple renewable sources, the battery storage, the grid connection capability, and this allows us to optimize energy usage depending on resource availability, the demand, and system conditions. And conclusion, well, in summary, the Aviles port demonstrates the feasibility of a system that is hybrid, it's modular, it's portable, and based on multiple renewable energy sources. These type of solutions are especially relevant for port environments, industrial infrastructures, and scenarios where energy resilience is critical. And with this, I conclude my presentation. Thank you very much for your attention. I will be happy to answer any question.
Thank you very much, Rodolfo. And now finally for the HY4RES project, I pass the floor to Helena.
Thank you very much for this introduction. Okay, I will talk about the community energy. Here in this slide, we can see a system overview, including the place with the energy community with 2 mills. We can see in this figure on the left, with 2 mills. Mill 1 was rehabilitated and Mill 2 was transformed into a source of electric energy. This shows how the hybrid setup works with 2 kilowatt wind turbine, vertical wind turbine, 3 kilowatt hydro generator, 2.5 solar array, all fit into a hybrid inverter alongside the utility community energy grid. A MPPT controller manages energy flows into a battery bank, which stores surplus power for late use with the grid as a backup. In slide 3, in this slide, we can see the hybrid system characteristics, which summarize the pilot's key figures. Combined installed capacity of 7.5 kilowatts as a total of renewables, 29 megawatt hour of annual hydropower energy. Hydropower is the main source of energy production here. A total investment of 54,000 euros due to the civil works and the innovation applied in this system. Expected payback period less than 6 years. We rehabilitated an old mill, Mill 1, and replaced the damaged Mill 2 by a specific conceived cross-flow type hydropower turbine suited for this place. In my next slide, I present hybrid renewable system component details of each technology with some videos. We can see some videos here. I can put working with videos. The micro hydro uses a cross-flow turbine with these specifications, as you can see. With small rotational speed, you need a multiplier to transform this rotational speed to the suitable generator. With very low head, lower than 3 meters. The solar array has 4 panels mounted on the sloped landscape we can see here. The vertical axis wind turbine sits on a balcony viewpoint for better exposure to the wind near the river, and the battery pairs with a hybrid inverter capable of switching between off-grid and grid backup modes. Here you can see some achievements with results, which highlights what is being accomplished. The hybrid system has been proven on site with hydro turbine fully operational and real-time output recorded for solar and wind. Here we have an example. During 7 days, the team validated automatic switching between off-grid and grid modes, launched a live monitoring dashboard tracking voltage, current, charge state of the batteries and power, and converted the replaced mill into a micro-historic heritage museum. And to finalize, I can show the next steps under development, outlines ongoing work, setting up continuous Internet of Things logging for electrical and battery performance data, using that data to refine how energy is managed across sources and testing an additional generator type. For example, this is like a lab up for other improvements that we can use in this installation. And okay, and to finalize, we can see, okay, thank you very much. We can see my contact if you are interested to know more details. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Helena. Okay, I'm turning now to the chat. For the moment, I have not seen any question written down the chat, so I suggest we move to the panel discussion. So I will invite our speakers to open now again the cameras and the microphones. Okay, thank you very much. And I will open this panel with a question for maybe for the different Hy4RES pilot site representatives. And I will ask, how do you, first, you've demonstrated that you are operating different hybrid systems. So in the combination of these different hybrids, what did you learn to optimize this type of combination? I don't know who wants to ask this, to answer this question first. Maybe Helena, maybe?
Okay.
Or Rodolfo?
There are some interesting key lessons learned with this. The preservation matches modernization, preservation of old mills, okay, together with the modernization using smart equipments, smart Internet of Things associated with the data acquisition system. So I think the pilot proved that the cultural heritage, historic mill, the weir, and the bypass used for the old mills, okay, were used as a diversion channel, were used in this solution, and can remain structurally intact and protected while simultaneously acting as an active clean energy hub. The power production, it was specifically for low heads. You don't have too much turbines at this scale for low heads, as happened with the port of Avilés and our energy community. We make some innovation in terms of turbine. We conceive the turbine, we adapt the system without damage the old mills, okay? And we had some civil works, interesting, important civil works to adapt and to insert our turbine similar with an old mill, okay, in that short or micro energy community. We use different technologies. We use batteries, solar, wind, hydropower technologies integrated together. And I think we transform that place in a prosumer, as Carlos mentioned. Prosumer, it is very important. They can produce and use this energy. The objective, it is not to sell energy, because they don't pay interesting taxes to selling energy, but to use energy locally. And we can storage using our battery to use in other hours when we don't have energy available. This is important lessons that we learned with this installation.
Thank you very much. Rodolfo, can you maybe chime in also from your point of view?
Yeah, well, in our point of view, in Avilés port, we try to develop a system that can be portable. I mean, it's not specific for port, but the truth is that in Avilés, we found the perfect location to test it and try to develop it. The thing is that where we are thinking before starting this fantastic travel with all of you was to try to design something that you can move where you need the energy. I mean, it's to bring the source of energy to the right point where you're going to use. At the moment, you have the sources somewhere and you move the energy once it's harnessed. What we thought with this idea is to bring the sources, to bring the hardness of the energy to the real point of use. So it was a great experience. We learned a lot of not solar or wind, because mostly they are completely science actually, but especially the hydrokinetic, how we can harness the energy from rivers and tidals, that in our scale is not like Helena said before, we are not going to sell it, but our idea is to harness all the energy, because we are surrounded by energy and we are not using we're using no energy. No? So with this idea, we can bring the source to the point of use, and we are very happy with the conclusions and with all the travel that we did till this point.
Thank you very much. Maybe a question to try to connect the different projects together. So coming back maybe to Samuel and the NAPORTS project. So you just heard Rodolfo mentioning actions conducted at a smaller scale port, whereas your project is dealing with much larger infrastructure. So how do you see the connection between the two approaches?
The limit of our pilot is...
Rodolfo and Samuel, please. Yep.
Sorry?
Go.
No,
Yeah,
no,
please
go ahead, Rodolfo, and then I will answer.
Sorry, Samuel.
No, but go ahead, please.
Just few words. We have a problem with the scalability because we need to move our pilot. I mean, the way that is portable, if you transport the pilot by road, you have a limitation of the truck. If you move the pilot by the sea, you have the limitation of the boat, of the ship. So we have this kind of problem with the scalability. But if you are not gonna make it portable, imagine you can deploy how many solar panels, turbines as you wish and as you need and as you can use for harness their energy. Sorry, Samuel, it's all yours.
No, don't worry. Nothing to be sorry for. Just to get a link with NAPORTS project and larger projects, let's say larger renewable energy facilities. What we work with at NAPORTS is with the whole energy transition strategy of every port. So it's not like we are developing that strategy, because it's a strategy that was done before we started the NAPORTS, but we are trying to help them in speeding up that strategy. What have mentioned Rodolfo is very interesting. A compact portable solution is very helpful, and it's very interesting, especially for a port area where you might have very different consumers with different demand profiles, and every of those demands might need a specific production of energy in different moments of the day, and they might find different drawbacks or different difficulties. But the most important thing, and I think it's a common bargain for everybody at ports, is to understand that they are hubs, energy hubs. They are surrounded by energy of very different sources. All of it should be harnessed, harvested, and the thing is that they need to make the most out of it. So the fact of having very different concessionaires and very different end users there, like e-fuels production facilities, or offices, or electric vehicles production facilities, wind power components production facilities. All of them have different energy profiles, energy consumption profiles, I mean, and all of them must be met as they need to keep up ongoing. And the thing is that the most important thing is to harvest and to manage the energy so they are able to make the most out of it, and none of this surrounding energy that we have at ports is misused or is thrown away, basically.
Thank you very much. Another question for connecting the different projects. So a question maybe for Sean. For the project SATCOMM, and based on what you presented from your project, do you see common challenges from your projects and to the communities in the different pilot sites in HY4RES project?
Yeah, obviously the challenges we're predominantly dealing with are mostly regulatory and legislative. You know, the technology is there and it can be developed to suit that pilot. But I think the common thread is that, you know, where you can develop a system or a pilot where you maximize the self-consumption, either, and it's very hard to do that, as I mentioned, within a single entity. But when you have a group of people, whether it's at a port or in an industrial park or an office block, they can aggregate together and they can, and when you maximize the use of that and spill, you might not be allowed to spill anything out onto the grid from that pilot or that use case. But if you maximize the use in that group, you can integrate a lot of solar, wind, batteries, you know. So I think the key thread amongst all the projects is to maximize the self-sustainability of the pilots or the groups, or whether they're collective self-consumption groups or renewable energy communities or citizen energy communities. That is the best value. And it also brings a lot of advantages, not alone to that group financially and sustainability wise, but it also provides a lot of advantages to the grid. Then it can be then a net contributor to the grid. It can engage in flexibility or capacity markets, and it can, if they can be replicated then along the network, the scalability of that is there.
Thank you. I'm still not seeing questions typed in the chat. Please don't hesitate if you have any question from the audience. In the meantime, maybe a question directed back to Carlos, who was the first speaker, in terms of policy context and policy available locally and at the whole Atlantic area. Do you have the feeling that the current policy basically is working and is okay with the fostering of these different type of initiatives?
Yeah, you know, this is important that when we are in the project application, we ask also, one of the questions is related the public institution, the policymakers, that is important to involve in the partnership. Not always, but we highly recommend to include as associate partners or to contact the policymakers and regional and local entities in order to not just capitalize the results, but to communicate the results of the project. For instance, in the case of SATCOMM with Shin, I think this is really important to, and we talk about that, and I think the Irish government speed up the process to implement the directive. But it's very important. And this is, I think, the key difference between Interreg and other European projects. We are not we can have research, but it's not a research, it's a cooperation project, and we want to involve all the stakeholders. So if you want to capitalize the results, we need to contact the policymakers, and it could be Europe, but it could be the national, regional, and local governments. In order to let them know the results of the projects, the problems, the difficulties, and also to have the support. So, for instance, it's important to have the ports, like any ports, to have the ports involving in the projects, because it's a public, normally it's a public institution, a public company, a public enterprise, and they can develop the results of the projects and implement. And also for the Atlantic strategy, they talk in the last papers that is very important, the key role of the ports in the Atlantic area and to implement the Atlantic strategy. And I think the key difference between InterregAtlant and other projects that we want to involve all the stakeholders in the projects, and also that I forgot in the presentation, involving youth. So it's important to disseminate the results and disseminate the projects with the students in university schools. Is really, really important. And also is one of the strategies of the European Commission and DG Regio is to involve youth, young people in Interreg programs and Interreg projects.
Thank you very much. Unless there is a very last minute question, I don't see. So I think we are reaching now the end of our webinar. So I want to maybe just to summarize a few key findings. I think that for the most part, we have seen that the technology is available, the research is ongoing, and then we can adapt the existing technology or develop new technology to local challenges. But I think that Sean mentioned that, yeah, the tech is here. So now the challenge is more about dissemination of those findings, replication in different areas. And also, Carlos, you just mentioned the involvement. So it was mentioned a few times that involvement of different communities, involvement of consumers, as well as producers and processors being consumers and vice versa is also a key challenge locally. The involvement of the youth is also a key finding, I think. This is maybe something to continue exploring in our different projects. With that, I think I want to thank very much our different speakers today. Thank you very much for making yourself available and presenting all the HY4RES and also NAPorts and SATCOMM projects findings. I want to thank also the different participants in the audience. You can find all the references that are put down currently in the chat for the different projects, all the links to newsletters, links to LinkedIn networks. And as we mentioned when we launched this webinar, this is part of a series of webinars. This is part of also an energy dedicated campaign. So you will find replay, and please disseminate those replays. Please disseminate the information to your colleagues and your communities. I want to thank also the organization team, my colleagues Nina and Amandine, for the setting up of this webinar. Thank you very much to all, and we hope to see you again in different events for those projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Alexandre.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.